Roll. I wouldn't give you a piece of this cake to save your soul. My mom told me today, before she went away, to be a good boy, she'd bring me a toy. I'm my mama's pride and joy. Now there ain't no use for you to keep on hanging round. I love you, but I've got to let you down. My jelly roll is sweet, it's really hard to beat. I know you want it, but you can't have it, 'cause I ain't gonna give you none. Come on!
Hi, welcome to my screencast. My name is Sandy Boyer, and this screencast comes to you on September 26, 2012, from Pittsburgh, PA. My field-based activity was based off of Proposition 3. Teachers are responsible for managing and monitoring student learning. Trend number 7. The percentage of American children living in poverty today in families with income below the poverty line has increased continuously. Nearly 1 in 5 children are poor today. Activity 3. I chose to examine Maslow's hierarchy of needs and explain how its concepts impact a student's ability to learn, as well as support the need for teachers to pay particular attention to these factors. And that was retrieved September 19th from blog at worldpress.com. Field-based educator. I asked Ms. Cartledge, my field-based educator, if she has ever dealt with children who were faced with poverty in the past or present, and if so, did she feel it affected their ability to learn? She stated on September 16, 2012, personal interview, poverty seems to affect a student's ability to learn. I've had a few poor students over the course of my career, but not many. But being hungry, not having adequate clothing, comfortable living conditions, etc., can definitely impact a student's ability to learn. Sometimes, though, poverty might be a consequence of family issues that might have a bigger impact on learning. It is hard to know because poverty and family dysfunction can be a vicious cycle. She said, I know a woman who was extremely poor as a child. She told me they ate salted bread for dinner, and yet she was the salutatorian. Her parents were strong and loving, and she did very well in school. I asked Ms. Cartledge if she had any suggestions on what we could do as a cyber school to help low-income economic students receive adequate meals. She said, I think this is one of the limitations of cyber school. We really are not aware of poverty, hunger, and other issues. We don't see the students. For the younger children in particular, the parents are the main contact with the school through the instructional supervisor, also known as the IS. If a parent is uncomfortable discussing issues, it is possible that it might never surface. Perhaps we should try to ask parents if they need assistance with food. It's a good question, and one that I'm not sure I know the answer to. My sources, Dr. Bourne's PowerPoint, Understanding Poverty 2012, retrieved from franciscan.blackboard.com. Of course, my field educator, Cartledge Joan, personal interview, September 16, 2012. Hewitt W. Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs, Educational Psychology Interactive, and that was retrieved from edpsychinteractive.org. Investing in Children by Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs, retrieved September 19, 2012 from http://investigatinginchildren.on.k communications. Maslow posited hierarchy of human needs based on two groupings: deficiency needs and growth needs. With the deficiency needs, each lower need must be met before moving to the next level. Once each of those needs has been satisfied, if at some future time a deficiency is detected, the individual will act to remove the deficiency. The first two levels are physiological hunger, thirst, bodily comforts, etc., and safety and security. Next, I have Maslow's hierarchy of needs pyramid. We are working with the two at the bottom, the basic physiological needs air, water, food, shelter, sleep, etc., and of course, safety and security. According to Investing for Children, which is a website, without proper diet and adequate rest, a child's attention might be split between focusing on schoolwork and worrying about hunger. Their grades will suffer. They will lack energy required to participate in these activities, and they won't even begin to look at their higher needs. A lack of sleep is often symptomatic of an unstable home environment, for which the solution may involve serious intervention. However, poverty not only affects a child's ability to focus, but it usually accompanies the next step in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is safety and security. As stated by Investing for Children, this category can be quite broad, encompassing needs for physical safety, a secure environment, and emotional safety. For a child, these needs can be equally important at home, at school, or in the neighborhood. According to an article by Barbara Minton titled Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs Explains Why Some Children Fail, she states, "We have been told by our politicians and media that the reason children fail is because their teachers are not held accountable or their schools are not up to standard. It is this sort of thinking that has allowed for the passage of the No Child Left Behind Act." And that was retrieved September 15th, 2012. The actual article itself was written in 2008. Maslow's hierarchy of needs offers a simple, clear, and resonant explanation for why children fail. His four deficiency needs must be fully met before the child is in any condition to benefit from his or her school experience. He or she must have nourishing food, a consistent home with heat in the winter, and the feeling of being safe before his or her mind is free to learn at school. Many of the children who have been unable to fulfill the needs necessary for school achievement live in the inner cities that are so well represented on lists of failing school districts. And again, according to Barbara L. Minton, she says, sadly, there's no acknowledgement of the conditions under which they live and the impact of these conditions on their lack of school achievement. When underperforming schools lose funding, it is the social workers, the counselors, and psychologists whose jobs are the first to be cut. Yet these are the people who act as the front line for helping children who are unable to meet their deficiency needs. According to Dr. Ruby Payne, academic rigor plus curriculum relevance and caring relationships with these students are important. By making emotional deposits and avoiding emotional withdrawals, it equals higher student achievement. And that was taken from Dr. Bourne's PowerPoint, slide 11, 2012. According to Payne, quote, teachers must realize that the primary motivation for a poor student's success will be in relationships. Successful relationships with students and their families occur when emotional deposits are made and emotional withdrawals are avoided. By understanding these deposits, valued by individuals from poverty, relationships grow stronger. The teacher should begin to immediately build positive emotional relationships by being kind, courteous, and respectful. Being clear about rules and expectations, keeping promises, using humor when appropriate, and apologizing when you make a mistake. In working with their parents, you should be accepting, be honest, be empathetic and respectful, offer emotional comfort, use your adult voice and casual register, avoid bureaucratic language and power struggles, give people time before getting to the agenda. Understanding the importance of personal freedom, speech, and individual personality. Ask questions that allow the person to examine their issues and options and explain choice and consequences with a response to why, and identify options related to available resources. That was retrieved from PowerPoint Learning Session number 7, slide 14, Dr. Bourne. I have 3 goals listed. Goal number 1, develop successful relationships with my students, to be aware that they might not be in the best of circumstances and I may be their only outlet for help and understanding. I should be kind, courteous, and understanding. In working with parents, understand the importance of personal freedom, speech, and individual personality. I should ask questions that allow the person to explain their issues and options and explain choices and consequences with a response to why, and identify options related to available resources. Goal number 2, talking to students about ways to resolve conflicts, solve problems, set priorities, and goals. And goal number 3, using positive self-talk by modeling for students how we overcome obstacles faced in class, such as a difficult worksheet or a project, technical issues, or language or vocabulary difficulties. I can encourage the group's positive self-talk. For example, quote, I could say things like, we could do this together, or look at what you have achieved in class today. So if I model that positive self-talk, hopefully they will begin to use it on their own. My references. Thank you for listening. This is Sandy Boyer from Pittsburgh, PA, September 26, 2012, signing out.